Hey guys, hope you are all having a great day. Today we set off to a great start of the week with both GameStop and AMC experiencing a bit of a surge. I know through social media that most of you guys are pumped up to the gills about what the rest of the week has for us. I have some expectations that I laid out yesterday, but remember to always be open for everything, and never set yourself for disappointment. Now, I have come across some bullish set of information as well as one that will have you rolling your eyes back. I am working on the next piece of DD. I went crazy last week, releasing a couple videos filled with it. I am back to doing research in a particular subject, so stay tuned for that video sometime this week. For now, I just have a couple of stuff I want to talk about and refresh with many of you, mostly regarding inflation and the overall economy that we are facing. Yes, these things matter and are of incalculable importance for the squeeze, so if you have any interest in knowing about the things that are most likely to launch you to Lambo Town, do not dismiss this as weird editorial content. Before we get started, let me quickly disclose and state that I am not a financial analyst or advisor, and that all contents discussed in this video are provided as opinions. All efforts are placed to better understand the nature of the current market in anticipation of the greatest squeeze in financial history. Everything presented is evidence I collect and all opinions are based on research, experience and knowledge on the matter. Shout out to all my Patreons and one-time donors, who continue to support this channel. With all that said, let's dive right into the good stuff. First and foremost, what do you guys say we begin the day with talking about one of the biggest names on Wall Street? We must once again talk about JPMorgan Chase, who once again have shown their true colors. The banking and financial services firm has entered into a resolution with the Department of Justice to resolve criminal charges related to two distinct schemes to defraud other parties. The first involves tens of thousands of episodes of unlawful trading in the markets for precious metals futures contracts. The second involves thousands of instances of unlawful trading in the markets for American Treasury future contracts and in the cash market for American Treasury notes and bonds. JPMorgan was allowed to enter into a deferred prosecution agreement where they will pay over $920 million in criminal monetary penalty, criminal disgorgement and victim compensation. You guys want to hear the best part? Attorney John Durham said that the agreement requires JPMorgan to now self-report violations of the federal anti-fraud laws and cooperate in any future criminal investigations. Self-report their own crimes? Really? As Assistant Director William Sweeney said, for nearly a decade, a significant number of JPMorgan traders and sales personnel openly disregarded U.S. laws that serve to protect against illegal activity in the marketplace. What an absolute joke our Justice Department has become. Mere fines for big institutions scheming to cause fraudulent acts that would have led victims to lose millions of dollars and billions over time. All they get is some slap on the wrist and then they get to walk away free of any real consequences. There is a severe disconnect in our laws, and now more than ever banks and other institutions are making headlines repeatedly for small fines and punishments for big crimes. What a disappointment we have become as a country. I mean, self-regulation? Really? This is the terms of the agreement prosecutors and JPMorgan entered? That JPMorgan will come to report themselves when they scheme to commit fraud or other financial crimes. I mean, the fact that they even had the option to agree to pay the fines says it all. Why are we entering into agreements with criminals? To appease them after they got caught robbing people? I honestly do not want to hear any official talk about China until we get our laws straight. I am already entering into a full-on rant. Let's move on because we have some really interesting stuff to talk about. Today I was caught unexpected by reports stating that over 100 Republicans in the House vowed in a new letter to not vote to increase the debt ceiling. Now, let's frame things correctly from the get-go. Nothing has really happened, and Republicans do not have the majority in the House, so this is likely to not lead anywhere in the end. However, the intent is already showing, and the problems in the economy are getting so serious that a hypothetical scenario where the debt ceiling isn't increased will most likely be the very first major step in causing the mother of all short squeezes. Now, let's talk about the debt ceiling because I want to break this down so that even the smoothest operator knows exactly what is going on. This is a full dummy tutorial, so pay attention. The debt ceiling is the maximum amount of money that the United States can borrow cumulatively by issuing bonds. When the national debt starts hitting and bumping against the ceiling, the Treasury Department must find and resort to extreme measures to pay for the financial obligations until the ceiling is raised. The debt ceiling is always raising, but should be moved at a smooth rate. Well, as it happens to be, Congress has never defaulted on debt because they simply go and raise the debt ceiling over and over. Our current deficit lies in the ballpark of $38 trillion, a staggering number that should be passed by the bags of meme stock shorters if they continue this little game for too long. So, America has been doing a lot of spending, and we are nearing and bumping against the ceiling. So, what does America do? They tend to raise the debt ceiling, which is what is expected to happen. Nobody really ever says no to raising the debt, even when a party signs a letter threatening to do so. Why? Because it would be career suicide, and after your unemployment benefits expire, you will find yourself next to me at the subway employment line. My wife's boyfriend is still collecting rent. So, they will most likely raise the debt ceiling, and I say likely because there is always a first time for everything and I don't bet 100% into anything. But this leads us to a question: what would happen if the United States government defaults on its debt? If Congress were to threaten and successfully put a cap on raising the debt ceiling, and then the debt exceeds the limit, a default would happen instantaneously and automatically. Another scenario that could happen would be that if the United States stopped paying interests on its debt, the government would automatically default. This has never happened, so we don't have a precedent as to how things would crumble, but by all means of existential destiny, they would crumble hard. The consequences of this would be dire, and they would ripple across the entire global market and economy. Interest rates will soar. Something we have talked about, which I plan on making a new video on relatively soon, is that the interest rates are being kept extremely low so that the economy can recover from the fall in the events that led to that crash last year. However, once we default, interest rates would explode overnight, costing businesses, loan recipients, and especially the government a ton more to borrow money. The value of the American dollar, which isn't even on a good state right now, would take a huge hit. I bet you are thinking of a substantial but not crazy devaluation, right? You are wrong. The American dollar value would depreciate so much it would actually lose its place in the list of global world currencies. Investors all over the world, including America, would switch over to other currencies, especially on the European euro and the Chinese yen. The transition into crypto would also be enormous, but that is a video for another day. American import prices would skyrocket as well. Government employees would most likely not get paid, which could lead to people mass quitting the jobs, further stressing problems. Anyone receiving Social Security, Medicare and Medicaid benefits would lose those programs' effect immediate entirely. As you might imagine, death tolls would quickly rise. And saving the best for last, inflation would skyrocket to the moon before any ape does. As such, credit ratings would then downgrade, which would cause stock markets to not dip or fall, but plummet, as if a chainsaw cut the legs of a person. Here's one dataset. Disclosing margin debt by FINRA. I got told that we broke a new high, but truth is that though we are moving steeply up, we slightly retraced a bit. However, do not let that small retracement distract you from the fact that this level of growth is not suitable for long-term growth, and that the spike we saw commence in 2020 is not going to be met with a fall. Stay vigilant with your money and real-life assets, things are going to get bumpy one day. I wanted to show you guys this because I saw some misinformation being passed around. Now, let's talk about today. The Fed reported that reverse repo operations for today resulted in over $1.140 trillion, almost reaching the all-time high we were at just last week. AMC's dark pool transactions accounted for 69% of the total volume, while GameStop dark pool transactions accounted for 57% of the total volume today. According to Fidelity data, buy order flow for AMC was bigger than the sell order flow, with GameStop's buy order flow also being bigger than the sell order flow. Now, let us finish up with a recap of today's performance. AMC had a great performance today, rising and gaining over 6%. The stock started pre-market to a bit of volatility that, funny enough, caused the stock to enter into an ascending triangle. AMC continued trading sideways, eventually dipping a bit underneath the VWAP. However, as the opening hours of the stock market approached, AMC started surging violently. Upon market open, AMC ran to $45, before dipping down and bouncing on the VWAP. The stock consolidated very quickly here before retesting and breaking that previous resistance wall and reaching 45.71. The stock then started trading sideways a bit before getting hit by short ladder attacks that lowered the price. The attacks were relentless, lasting all the way to the closing of regular market hours. AMC still ended strong, closing at 43.33, though it was under the VWAP. As for what I expect tomorrow, I have no doubt the stock is incredibly oversold and under normal circumstances it should move up. We have support at 42.62 and we are building good support at 43. If we don't dip tomorrow pre-market, we should have another run and retest that ridiculous $45 price wall. I am incredibly bullish on AMC as I said in yesterday's video, though do not think this means I am certain of everything. Keep expectations low and be ready for a dip. However, things are now looking really green. As for GameStop, the tale was even more bullish until hedge funds came in to crash the party. The stock still ended the day with a gain of over 2%. The stock opened to a massive bullish breakout, running from around 204 to 218. The stock then retraced and traded sideways, getting a ton of consolidation. The stock then broke the resistance of that channel, running to 216 before being later attacked consistently and at key levels, dropping it to a closing price of 209.20, well below the VWAP. As for what I expect tomorrow, I still think this stock is due for a surge, and that shorters are trying to impede much of the growth by attacking it as much as they can on these levels. If any attacks come and dips this baby below 200, I am buying that dip. I don't care if I have to take a loan on my wife. Let her boyfriend have her if it means more tendies. And that is a wrap for today. Today's big question is surveillance really a bad thing if you have nothing to hide from society? I look forward to reading your comments. Do let me know if you liked the video and how you feel about the topics we discussed in relation to debt ceilings. Thank you for the recent support you have given me with the morning videos. If you want to help this channel, I have provided links which will be in the description for donations or even a monthly pledge of whatever amount you want. These donations do go a long way in helping me be able to pump videos out as I am now doing this full time with you guys. Remember to follow me on Twitter if you haven't already, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day and to the moon.